Seattle. Last time they're in Seattle, they swept them out of the playoffs. What are they going to do this year? Will the offense wake up and fly to Seattle with the team? We'll talk about this on tonight's Locked On Astros.
Alvarez, it's a high drive, center field. Beer leans back. This game is turned upside down. There's the runner, fly ball down the right field line. Tucker comes on. Kyle Tucker. This time they finish the job.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Stros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can you find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. They can find me at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive. I love that the Astros had an off day to get some rest. Always Stros.
All right. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen. Whether it's on YouTube, keep on subscribing. Go ahead and watch all the way through and make us look better. And go ahead and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go ahead and check us out. And we have some news that's coming up pretty soon. You can listen to every episode on SiriusXM. And that's pretty awesome that Locked On Astros will be on SiriusXM. And you can catch every Astros game as well on SiriusXM. So go ahead and go to your app store and search SXM. And you can catch all the play-by-play action with Robert Ford and Sparky this Friday at 9:10. Yeah, we love those late night starts on SiriusXM. And you can go ahead and check out all the Locked On Astros podcasts pretty soon on SiriusXM. So we're super excited about that. We're super excited about the fact that we're going to Seattle. But this episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. BetterHelp connects you with licensed therapists who can take you on their journey of self-discovery from wherever you are. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnMLB today to get 10% off your first month. So, Brett, are the bats going to be sleepless in Seattle?
Oh, I like that. Look at you with the lead in with the Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan reference. I love that. Brady on here says, did y'all know I'm secretly Alex Bregman in disguise? I did not know that. I would be surprised if Alex Bregman would blow his cover so early in the season, but hey, thanks, Breggy. Nice that you could hang out with us. And, Alex Bregman, since you're here, did you bring your bat along? Because, Bregman, other than I think he got 2 hits in that series, Eric, against the Giants, he has been one of the bats that's been kind of MIA. And even though he is typically off to a slow start, you would like to see him picking things up. So there are a lot of questions going into Seattle. We'll talk later on about JP France. We'll talk later on, maybe in the second segment, about Brantley. Will he show up at some point on this road trip? But right now, addressing the concerns, the Mariners' offense has gotten heated up. The Mariners have played well these last few games. The Astros' offense has kind of vanished or not really been here consistently. Which Seattle team are we going to get, and which Astros team are we going to get? Because the Astros play well against the good teams, and they play down to the bad teams. And why do I say that? Because Seattle is currently 2 games under 5. Actually, they're 1 game under 500.
Yeah, they won
their 4th game in a row. But they're considered, quote unquote, a bad team because they're under 500. So we need to go into Seattle with this mindset. They're the best team on the planet.
But Brett, I counter that with the fact that the Mariners are batting .218 right now with a .673 OPS, and that is at the bottom of baseball. Of all the teams, that's the worst batting average. I know.
I didn't know that.
That's not batting average is not the be all end all, but still, that's pretty bad there. They do have
Eric,
more home runs.
Come on. Batting average. What kind of baseball fan are you? Come on, Eric.
They do have more home runs than the Astros do, 34 compared to 27. But at the same time, The Astros have a 240 batting average and, wait for it, a 680 OPS compared to their 673 OPS. So 7 points better. Take that, Seattle. Booyah.
Well, one of the surprises for the Mariners this year has been Jared Kelenic, who basically this kid was one of the most touted prospects. He came up, he got sent back down, and they thought maybe he was going to be a bust. And he's come through. This year he's batting 304 with 7 home runs with the 961 OPS. You got J-Rod, who is basically not really batting all that well in the leadoff spot. Ty France, he's in there. Suarez seems to be a thorn in the Astros side. JP Crawford. I mean, look, they've got a lineup, an offense that you would think would not be as low as they are batting wise. But even with that bad batting average, Eric, they're only one game under 500.
Right.
Seattle and Houston have some really good battles. But this time around, we're going to be without 2 of our pitchers. And so you would like to see not only the relief pitchers come through, you would like to see the starters that are in go the length. But the most important part of this series is, will this offense get off the ground? Right. Will they be able to take on someone like a Castillo, someone like that, one of their tougher arms, and surprise some people? Because lately they just haven't been putting quality at bats together at the plate on a consistent enough basis.
Yes, definitely. And if you're looking at why the Mariners with such a low batting average, because batting average is awesome, you're going to look at the ERAs. The Astros ERA is second best in baseball behind the Rays, who are 25-6. I don't know if that includes today. I think they actually won today, so they're actually 26-6. So they may be actually legit. So the Astros ERA is 3.20. The Mariners are 4th in baseball with a 3.45 ERA. So that explains how they are getting close to 500 with anemic offense. And we've seen them in the past with a good bullpen. At the start of the season, you saw some of their young starters kind of give up a lot of home runs and have some bad starts. But I think they're kind of coming back to where they're supposed to be. And I think the Mariners are going to be a team at the end of the day, as you would say, that are going to definitely be in the playoff pictures down the road. But the AL East is still going to have a lot of teams that are going to be competing for those wild card teams. But I think that the Astros need to win a whole bunch of all of these games in the series, set a tone early, just be like, look, you can't bring in Robbie Ray anymore to face Yordan Alvarez, but Alvarez is going to wake up. You're going to wake up a sleeping beast, and Alvarez has got to start doing something. The whole lineup has got to start doing something. It can't be the Mauricio Dubon show until Jose Altuve comes back. And I know Darby asked about Altuve. We don't know anything about Altuve. We know that he is just been cleared to do some light baseball activities. Over the next 2 weeks, we'll kind of declare when he's able to come back. You mentioned it before. Michael Brantley may come back sometime during his road trip, and Chas McCormick may come back at some point, but he's got to do some rehab time. And in a second, we're going to talk about who could be potentially starting at one of these games coming up. So I'm excited about it. So definitely you want to tune in and hear who we're going to talk about. But before we do that, we need to go ahead and talk about RocketMoney.
Yeah, let me tell you, RocketMoney is the company you need to go to, especially if personal finances is something that you are really concerned about, which you should be. This personal finance app helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. I mean, why wouldn't you want that? Over 80% of people have subscriptions that they've completely forgotten about. Chances are you're one of them. No offense, I know I'm one of them. RocketMoney really helps me out. It helps me keep things in line. It helps me go, whoa, I didn't know I was subscribing to that Ornate Hat Club of the Month thing. So it cancels it for me. It also helps you manage your finances in one place, automatically characterizes your expenses. So you can easily track your budget in real time. Also get alerted when anything looks off. Over 3 million people have used RocketMoney, saving the average person up to $720 a year. That's right. So try it free for 30 days, just enough time to try it and then completely forget about it, right? In fact, over 80% of the people have these subscriptions they've forgotten. So you have done that. Don't try stuff for free anymore and forget about it. Stop throwing your money away. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedonmlb. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedonmlb. Become a responsible financier of your finances with rocketmoney.com/lockedonmlb.
All right. So I see some people in the comments saying that it's been confirmed that
Yeah,
Brantley.
we're not going to go with no. We're not even going to utter that word. No,
Yeah.
we don't know that for sure.
I
We
just
will
looked and
check
I
our
haven't seen anything
sources.
about that.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, listeners are not sources. No
I
offense.
know.
I think y'all would appreciate
I just
that.
was wondering if I missed something because I have not seen that. I know that there is a chance that they could be back. I know that Dana Brown said that he would likely be back by May 9th. And then they said, well, he may be back by the road trip, which starts in Seattle. So I know that he had that great game the other day. And so I think that the Astros may have been taking a look at Michael Brantley, but I don't know when he's coming back. So no, I don't think we will officially know until possibly on Friday when more news comes out. So definitely, if that does happen, we might want to have a show at some point, maybe a mini show this weekend, just to say,
Yeah.
hey, if that happens. But
Well, yeah, and just so our listeners and viewers know, if we knew for a fact that Brantley and Chaz were there, Brian McTaggart and Chandler Rome would have already reported it. They have not reported anything of note. So we do know that Brantley has played recently. He's been hitting the ball well. I opine and assume that at some point you would see him on this trip. And we'll talk about JP France. We'll save that for later. But this offense simply needs to get off the ground. I don't care who's there. Eric, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Does Jose Abreu deserve to be in the 4 spot if he's continuing to be slump to slump like this, to be a low batting average? Shouldn't he be moved down? Shouldn't we move this lineup a little bit, jostle it, because Abreu in the 4 hole, it's not working.
Well, I think that with him, it's more of a veteran kind of respect type thing. And I think once the lineup gets extended, so to speak, I think you may see him push back to 5. But this is more of a, hey, kid, even though he's not a kid, we're going to give you a chance to work it out of it without taking you out of where you're comfortable. But I think that he needs, I don't want to say bench him for a game, but he needs a day off.
Thank you. He's played more than our young players that are getting rest days.
Right.
And that's kind of a flawed, I think, kink in the system. When you hear, well, they're getting a rest day. What about Jose Abreu? Isn't he like 36? He's played pretty much every game. He's played more than anybody on this team, yet he doesn't have any rest days. And I don't buy this. Well, he's the veteran, and you understand you're paying him a lot of money, which a lot of people are asking you over and over on a daily basis. Do you have buyer's remorse with Jose Abreu? Not yet. Give him a season. Let him marinate a little bit. But he deserves to be dropped down. He deserves someone to step in his place. Diaz can man first. He played first in 2021 and 2022. Right.
Brett, you don't like a 49 OPS plus? You don't like a 531 OPS with a 264 slugging percentage?
Hey.
And wait, I can top that with a 267 on base percentage with 0 home runs, 232 batting average, and a negative 0.7 WAR for Jose Abreu.
Well, here's the deal. You're talking to the Astros cult leader who was praising Martin Maldonado. He has like a plus 27 or something. So, yes, I can get behind that, but I can also get behind reality. And that's what I try to temper my expectations with this team. I know what the Astros are going to do. I know what the line is going to be. I know what the excuses are going to be given. But at some point, you can't keep saying we're putting the best lineup forward if you're not putting the best lineup forward. You just can't genuinely convince me of that. And I'm a big look. I understand the order of baseball. I understand seniority. I understand all that stuff. But if you can't drop him in order, maybe you put him on the bench. You
Right.
allow him to rest, like you said, Eric. Great suggestion, by the way, old friend. Great suggestion.
Yes, his career walk percentage is 6.9%. Last year with the White Sox, he had 9.1%. This year, he's at 3.8%. So he's
pressing.
walking even less. So he's
Well, yeah, I mean, when he's up to plate, he's swinging at pitches out of the zone. He's just not putting together competitive at bats.
he's not comfortable. He's not using his whole body. He's just using his upper part of his body. And he just looks like he's out of whack. Until he gets into whack, he's gonna not be hitting.
No, you don't get at you only get out of whack. You don't get into whack. It was funny. I was listening to the Wheelhouse and they were like, maybe he should shave that goatee of his. I mean, they were like, let me tell you,
he's been having it.
People are all over this guy. He cannot. I mean, I've seen people comment on, I think it was on Facebook. Someone's like, he disrespects the game. He has a dirty uniform. He's just not a clean player. I'm like, what are we talking about? I'm like, have you seen? Did you watch Craig Biggio his entire career? If Craig Biggio was not covered in dirt head to toe at the end of the game, he didn't play.
Right.
So,
I just want to say that with somebody like Jose Abreu, you do not bat him 8th. You do not bat him 9th. You don't bat him 7th.
No, not 8th, but
you don't bat him 6th. Maybe you bat him 5th, but then I like
Kyle Tucker bats 6th and 7th.
I'm talking about like Dusty Baker is not going to do that. So
I understand that, but
that's until he we're still in a small sample size. He is starting to make harder contact. And so it's only May 4th. And by the way, May the 4th be with you.
Oh, Lord.
And I'm just going to throw a Star Trek sign.
This is Star Trek.
I know.
Eric's doing this. He's like, nanu. Mork and Mindy, we're crossing the space lines. Yeah. So, Eric, since it's the 4th, I know the listeners want to know, what is your favorite of all the Star Wars movies? What is your favorite? What is your number one Star Wars movie?
Honestly, I think the original one. I guess they call it The New Hope.
Okay, so you're going New Hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's some good ones, but I like all the original ones. I mean, the new ones are good, but I just like the original storyline.
Well, my favorite Star Wars movie is Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
That hands down is but I've literally got Empire Strikes Back. Then my second one is New Hope, and my third one is Return of the Jedi. So those are my top 3, the originals.
Right.
But I just had to get that out there, and they just re-released Return of the Jedi to the movie theaters. I don't know if it's still out, but I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's kind of rare to see those movies from the 80s come back to the movie theater. But one of the things I want to talk to y'all about is sometimes you just need some extra help. You need someone to talk to. And if you need someone to talk to, let me tell you, you need to go to BetterHelp. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp.com. BetterHelp is a great place for you to go when you feel like life has caught up to you. Like maybe you are up to your ears in responsibilities. You have all these people coming to you asking for help, wanting to share their problems with you. And it's a great thing that you do to listen to them. But sometimes it gets too much and you get stretched too thin, and your responsibilities at work and at home and with friends, it's just all overwhelming. So one of the things you should probably look at and think about is the tool of therapy through BetterHelp to better balance your life so you can help support the others and you don't leave yourself behind. Trust me, I've used BetterHelp and it's a really great app. What's cool is it's easy and convenient to use. It's on your phone. You simply fill out a brief questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime at no additional charge. It'll bring balance. You won't be upset that you won't regret it. It will help you understand you, and those that come to you will feel better too, because they'll know that they're not overburdening you with the things that they bring to you on a daily basis. So right now, I need you, if you feel like you need to, visit betterhelp.com/lockedonmlb today. You'll get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonmlb. Go to BetterHelp for a better you.
All right, I take it back. I think I actually like the ones with Kylo Ren and Rey. I think those are good movies. I can't think for life of me what the Star Wars movies were called. But anyway, I like that whole storyline too. But speaking of So Rare earlier, I was gifted this. Do you know whose autograph this is?
It is. Is it a current player?
Yes. Oh, sorta a minor leaguer. Who?
Hold on. Forrest Whitley.
Yes, this is Forrest Whitley. So this is awesome. And I think Forrest Whitley needs to get his shot at some point. But
he will.
I know that JP France was supposed to start today's game. Instead, somebody else got the start. It was Angel Macari.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say his name, but
that's okay. Angel.
He made his AAA debut today. And, sometimes how they do the tandem starters, and maybe JP France could have followed him, but he did not. So currently, the Astros do not have a starter listed for Saturday or Sunday. So theoretically, hypothetically, whatever word you want to use, JP France could be going to Seattle to maybe pitch in Saturday's game instead of Brandon Bielak. And then if they need somebody for Tuesday, Brandon Bielak could be used in that game if they don't use him in relief in another game.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep Bielak in that starting position because he pitched when? He pitched on...
It was Monday, the game we went to.
Okay.
Right.
So if he pitched on Monday, he would be ready to pitch on Sunday. So I think
he can pitch on Saturday too.
I think if you're going to bring up JP France, you don't want to give Bielak too long of a rest in between his starts. If you're going to start putting him into the rotation, so maybe you would put Bielak Saturday and put JP France on Sunday. Give him time to adjust.
If JP France is the guy that you're going to rely on, you don't want to give him too much time between starts, because if this is a guy that could be in a rotation for a little bit, Brandon Bielak is a placeholder right now.
Well, that's true. That's true. Look, either way, I think it's going to be those two guys. We don't have this confirmed. Like, you may be listening to this on your way into work on May the 5th, and they may have already announced it. But as of talking right now at 9:23 p.m. on May 4th, we don't know for sure, but we do know that JP France did not start that scheduled start, like you mentioned. I implore y'all to stay up with the Astros minor league system, because there's some really cool things going on, players doing big things. And maybe sometime during the week next week, we can update the people, maybe give like a minor league update on like Monday or something like that, just what's going on, movements being made. So there's some interesting storylines to pay attention to, not just JP France, not just Forrest Whitley. But Chas McCormick, it seems like he will be returning sooner rather than later. So when he comes back and Brantley comes back, and then soon after that, you're going to have a Altuve, there's going to be you're going to have to sit down and figure out who's going to get the playing time. Do you keep Chas McCormick as the quote unquote backup? Because remember, they said it was never Chas's job, even in the World Series. And Myers has clearly stepped up and done a very admirable job. So do you pull Jake out of that starting role and interject Chas back in? I don't know that that's going to happen. And the conspiracy theories will rain down. Everybody will assume that Dusty's got something against somebody. I don't think that's the case. I think there's too much made on social media. And maybe that's part of the problem, is that's not necessarily the court of public opinion, social media, but they tend to think when a certain player doesn't play or someone doesn't play that it's because Dusty has something against them. And I just find it hard to believe that a manager of his age would do something like that, would make moves because, he's got something against this guy. I mean, you're clearly going to have your guys that you like and you favor, But Corey Julks is going to be another question. What are you going to do with him? Dubon?
Right.
I mean, do you keep Dubon at DH and let him lead off and have Altuve bat third or fourth or fifth or, but like they clearly said, Brantley's going to be interjected in that 2 spot. There's just a lot of questions. There's a lot to go through on this that we just don't know yet. Yeah, I mean, look, James Cook even says this. Chaz had an 877 OPS before he was hurt. Yeah, that's correct. I mean, look, there's an argument I think to be made for both Chaz and Jake.
And Dubon, when Jose Altuve comes back, you're going to have to find a place to play him too. Yeah. And I think Darby was asking earlier, well, why is Chaz McCormick playing with the hooks instead of the Space Cowboys? Honestly, because the Space Cowboys outfield is loaded, especially with Michael Brantley over there too.
Yeah, they're loaded, but also they didn't want to send him away to Vegas. They were at home. They wanted him to play. They didn't want him flying 4 hours with his back and neck injury. And apparently his injury didn't necessarily happen on the field. It happened, off the field.
Yeah, he was working out.
He was working out. And so that coupled with the hit that he took when he, I guess, when he jumped up for the ball and came down, kind of, I guess, jarred everything. And I didn't realize that because when I saw the interview with the hooks, I thought it was like an old interview. I was like, is this the same thing? And no, it was recent. It was from the Corpus Christi Caller or something like that. So look, if Brantley comes back on this road trip, good for him. If JP France comes up, I hope that he deals. I hope that he's successful. He's got that sweet mustache. And then who knows? You could have 2 games where France and Bielak come out and just absolutely deal, Eric, and this offense wakes up. I mean, that would be a great shot in the arm for this team.
All right, so the Astros in game 1 will go and send Cristian Javier with the 2-1 record, 3.48 ERA, versus 35 strikeouts versus Luis Castillo, 2-0 record, 1.82 ERA, 38 strikeouts. So if you want Jose Abreu to wake up his bats, not be sleepless in Seattle, I don't know if it's going to happen against Luis Castillo. His career batting average is 167 against him and 6 at-bats. Granted, small sample size. But Alvarez is 1 for 3, Bregman 0 for 3, and Dubon and 2 at-bats is batting 500. So that's the only Astros that have faced him in the regular season. And then if you're looking on the other side, of course, the Mariners have faced Cristian Javier a lot. But the only person that has a home run is Cal Raleigh. But I'm not sure if he's even playing right now.
I'm not sure. I do see that that Jared Kelenic hitting 500 in 2 at-bats. But it doesn't look in 9 at-bats. JP Crawford is batting 333. So, look, you just hope that Javier has that invisible working. If he's got that invisible working, if he's missing bats, I think that they can cool off this recently hot hitting Mariners offense. And again, you highlighted the 214 batting average. And let's hope that Luis Castillo doesn't have a good start. With the 182 ERA, it means he's pitching pretty darn good. So he's not giving up a lot of runs. If they can jump on Castillo early, I don't know if you noticed this, what the Giants were doing to the Astros pitchers. They jumped on them early. They didn't allow them to get deep in counts. And that's where I think where the Astros got in trouble. And so maybe game plan to where, look, we're going to jump on Castillo early. We're not going to let him establish himself because scoring runs early is important. Like you mentioned last night, we know we can score runs late, but hey, put a crooked number up on the board first 3 innings, put pressure on them.
Oh, Cal Raleigh is playing. Okay. For some reason, I thought he was injured, and I don't know why.
He might have been down at some point this season for like a game or 2. But I think that if this team can just go out and get the ball out of the infield, if they can hit doubles, if they can hit the gaps in Seattle, the Astros hit well in Seattle. But the second game, Eric, is I believe it's Marco Gonzalez.
Marco Gonzalez. The Astros have either hit him or been ice cold against him.
I know it is sink or swim, rain or shine with that guy because he's 2-0 with a 4.74 ERA. Marco is a lot more susceptible to give up the big hit. Right. You know what? Let's just knock Castillo out early. Let's just pepper him with runs, 10 runs in the first 3 innings. Let's do it, right?
Let's just
It's
shove them
easier
in the
said than done.
face game one. Just take care of business. Just say,
Yeah.
hey, we're the king of the AL West, even though we're in third place right now, and all these other, we have the Angels and the Rangers are better than us, and all that. So at the moment, the Astros have got to wake up, and they've got to do that starting this 9-game road trip. They have not played good at home, and so maybe some road cooking will be what the Astros need. So
They played well on the road.
That's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Astros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros. And I think that's all. Oh, sorry, Brett. You can find Brett at H-Town Wheelhouse. I did that on purpose. But we do the show every day. And soon you can find us on SiriusXM. We're super excited about that. And don't forget to catch every pitch on SiriusXM as well. The game starts at 9:10 on Friday. You can find it. Go to App Store, search SXM, download the app, search Astros, and hear every play on the Astros defeating the Mariners. So we'll see you on Sunday. And guess what? Go Astros.
Hey, we had 69 followers.